this is my first time using all of these products. Most of them are from the drugstore. Everything is from either like Target or Five and Below or Walmart. So in the description box I will link where everything is from. With some eyes first. So of course I'm going to take my normal LA Girl Pro concealer. This is by NYC. This is called City Proof 24-Hour Eyeshadow Stick. And it's in the shade Brooklyn Mocha. And I got this from Target. But I'm going to use this as an eyeshadow base. So it seems like it went on pretty smooth, I guess. Oh, okay. Falling out of my eye. What? Well, that's interesting. So I probably will not repurchase this one again, just due to the fact that it broke while in my eye. I don't know if this like rolls up or something. Oh, okay. I don't want to touch it like that. So now I'm going to take my Wet n Wild palette. This palette is called Coming in Latte. One thing that I do notice about some of the drugstore products is that it's not too many transitional shades that come in there. So you kind of just gotta work with what you got. So since my eyeshadow palette did not have a transitional shade in there, I'm actually gonna go in with this City Color Contour Effects. And I got this from Five and Below. And it was actually $4. So I'm going to go in with like this bronzing color right here. And I'm going to use that as my transitional shade. I'm going to keep this eye look super duper simple. So I'm just going to keep building it. I'll put it on there, blend it out, and build some more. Until I've reached my desired intensity. So the little Wet n Wild brush that comes with the palette, it doesn't look too bad. It's pretty, it has like a fluffy blending part on that side and then just a regular like eyeshadow packer on that side. So I'm actually going to come in with this palette and I'm going to get some of this on right here and just go work it in my crease. One thing that I do like for my palettes to have is a mirror on the inside of them, because usually when I'm recording videos it makes it a lot easier to see, to record the video when I have a mirror. So the fact that these things do not have a mirror is kind of a disappointment, but the payoff in this eyeshadow is really good. Okay, so far I do like the Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette. It's pigmented. My favorite palette by Wet n Wild is the Comfort Zone palette, and it's not like the Comfort Zone palette, however it's not bad. It's definitely, I would work with it. I'm just gonna go back in with just my regular brush. I'm not gonna put any product on it, but just that first brush that I used, the color from my contour palette, and just kind of blend over top of that. Alright, so now for my second color, I'm going to go in with this color right here. I wish these things had names. That's another bad thing about like the drugstore palettes. They don't have names. And then for this one, I'm going to test out the shader brush that comes with the Wet n Wild palette. These look super pretty. I bet these would look really pretty wet. Ooh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. On the brush, it's not bad, but I love it. It's so pigmented. Not too much fallout. I'm looking for it. Not too much. I'm not seeing it. Like honestly, if I don't reach for this palette for anything else but those two colors, I love it. It's so pretty. One thing that I definitely have to work on is going bolder. Because me, I like to keep it super, I like to stay in like a safe zone, kind of like when I'm using eyeshadow. I look at a lot of YouTube videos, and sometimes like whenever the look is coming together, and I'm like, ugh. But then when they complete the entire look, I'm like, okay, I see where you're going with it. I like it. And that's the same thing that I want to do. I want to be able to go a little bit bolder on this outer part right here. So just to test this out, instead of this is the first shade I used here, I'm gonna go one more shade over. So that's one shade closer to black. I'm gonna go with it. Let's see. For this, let's test out this other end. Not bad. I'm a long way when it comes to drugstore brushes, because you remember the old school drugstore brushes that were like little sponges? Now we're getting actually brushes in these palettes. Even when I first started doing makeup, I never used the sponge applicator. I just couldn't do it. Something about it just did not sit right with me. And even to this day, like, that's a turn off to me, like if it comes with a sponge applicator. Okay. So I think that's enough of the darker color. And now all that I'm gonna do is go back in with my Contour Effects palette and go back to that middle bronzing shade and do some more blending outwards. Okay, so not a bad look for the Wet n Wild palette. It's not bad. I could work with it. I feel like it's definitely workable. Of course, I gotta try out one of these highlighting lights shades, right? So I'm gonna keep it matte on top because I have lots of sparkles already. So I'm gonna try this first shade right here. That matte shade is not as matte as I thought it would be. It's a few shimmers in there, but it's not bad. I think that shade could even work as like a lid shade. Okay. So let's wrap it up with some eyeliner. So I'm gonna go to my good old hefty dandy Never Fails Me NYC. Mascara is also a classic. It's the Scandalize by Rimmel. Love it. This is the best mascara ever. I'm not gonna put any lashes on today. Okay, we're done with the eyes. Let's go in and try out some face products. So the first face product that I'm gonna try out is new. It's called Fix and Perfect Primer. Comes out white. That felt really weird. Do I have a paper cut on my finger? I think I have a paper cut because it felt extremely weird. Kind of smells like you know how Jergens lotion smells? That's how it kind of smells. The consistency is really thick. Whatever keeps me oil free honestly works for me. It goes on really thick, but it dries with like a silicone fill almost. It says on the bottle, Fix and Perfect Primer Base, smooths, resurfaces, brightens, mattifies, and protect. And it's the Pro Multi-Action one. There's actually two different ones. There's this one, and then there's also one that like comes with like a red cap. That one I'm going to guess does something completely different. Of course, as always, gonna go in and cover up with my black opal stick. And I'm going to spray with my NYX mattifying. I've kind of like switched up my foundation routine a little bit. So one thing that I do want to definitely get out soon is a foundation routine video. Only thing with me and my foundation routine is that I always use, I use different products. So I have the same routine, but it just different products. I was in Walmart and I didn't get it, but Black Opal does have a new primer out, and it actually has like color. I tested it out. If anyone has tried that out, let me know what you guys think of that. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to go in with this new foundation. It's called Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. I'm pretty excited about trying this, just due to the small fact that I was not a fan of the first Maybelline Velvet foundation that they came out with. It was like Velvet Mousse or something like that. I wasn't a fan of that. So when I was in Ulta and I saw this and it said actually soft, matte, and hydrating, I was like, this should definitely be interesting. So if it keeps me matte, but it also kind of gives me that luminous look, it might be good. So this is kind of like a moussey, if that was a word. It kind of gives me like a moussey feel. That was probably too much, but we'll make it work. And to actually blend this out and move it around, I'm actually going to try out my new Ultimate Blending Brush by e.l.f. So far, I'm liking the consistency. I really like the shade of it. It's not too dark and it's not too light. It's like actually dead on. When I was in the store, I tried coconut, and coconut was way too dark for me. So instead I went with this, let me check and see. It's called Caramel and it's in shade 92. I really like this e.l.f. brush. It's super soft and it seems like it's really getting the job done. This foundation is really flawless. I would actually almost say that I would wear the foundation like if I'm running late for work or I'm trying to get out of the house, or I just, you know, don't have too many places to go and I don't need to be fully glammed up. I would definitely wear the foundation by itself. I really like this brush by e.l.f. I'm probably gonna have to go back and get me a few more. This brush makes me feel like I do not have to go back over it with a beauty blender, because it seems like it got it pretty well blended out and dispersed. And this brush I believe was either $6 or $3. I know e.l.f. went up on their prices a little bit, but I mean that's okay as long as you go up on your quality as well. And e.l.f. brushes are great. You don't have to spend a lot of money on your makeup brushes to get a flawless look. So I'm gonna go in with my beauty blender just to get under my eye, kind of where the foundation is just setting in my lines. I love it. I really like this foundation. It does not feel heavy on my skin at all. This brush did awesome. I really like this brush. It's really thick and dense, but it seems like a good buffing brush. So for my concealer, it's not going to be a new product. It's going to be just my regular Warm Honey. Once again, another LA Girl Pro concealer. LA Girl Pro concealers, I talk about them in almost every video that I have, but they're so bomb and they're so inexpensive. Like if you're just starting out like doing your makeup, LA Girl Pro concealers are good for you. I think I have my LA Girl Pro concealer in almost every color. So far I have to say that I am loving my new Drugstore product. So when highlighting, just to kind of give you guys a tip, when highlighting, avoid going directly under the eye right there, because that is what increases your chances of creasing. Because if you look right there, you have really fine lines whether you can see it or not, and you don't want that. You don't want to put too much product on it. It's too heavy to support under the eye right there, so it's better to avoid that and blend upwards So you can blend out your product in there, but place your product more heavily under that area. Kind of switch things up because I never highlight there in my videos, but I'm going to try highlighting there today just to kind of switch it up. I'm going to go in with my brush since I want to kind of control this highlighted area here. I don't want to stretch it too far out on my sides. I want to keep it right here because I want to keep my face brought in. So to do that, I'm going to go in first with my brush. And this is just a Real Techniques brush, again, a drugstore brush. So it's not too expensive. You don't have to spend too much money on them. I get them at Ulta. Sometimes Ulta does have sales on them. I just recently restocked on some of their brushes and also their complexion sponges because they were buy one get one free. Exactly how that is where I wanted my highlight, and that is where it stayed. When you take your highlight further out, like to your temples, and you go all the way out there like that, that makes your face look wider. So the trick for contouring and highlighting, just as a tip, is to make your face look narrow and to pop those other features out, which is why you use a lighter color. So now what I'm doing is just basically going back in there with my beauty blender and blending that light shade out. And still not stretching it all the way out, but just keeping it really controlled. Same thing with my chin. Same thing with your chin. You don't want to make your chin look wider. You want to bring your chin in, make it look more narrow. Same thing with the forehead. My forehead, is already kind of wide. It's a forehead, so I don't want to make it look any more bigger. So I'm going to control this highlight because I don't want to stretch my highlight over on my forehead because that's going to bring my forehead out more. So now what I'm going to do, just to kind of blend all of the highlight in there with my foundation, I'm just going to go back in with my foundation brush and just buff out the edges of that concealer. Going back in and buffing out that concealer, this is going to give you a more blended look, so a blended seamless look. And I'm going back in over my chin. I did highlight it, but I don't want my chin to pop as much as I want these areas to pop, so I'm just going back in with my foundation brush. Now to set this, I'm going to use, this is a new product because usually, as you guys know, I use the L'Oreal Infallible Setting Pro Matte Powder. Finally ran out of my lighter shade in Sand, so instead I'm going to try out this LA Color. And this is just a regular pressed powder, but instead of using it to set my entire face, I'm going to use this lighter shade just to set like my under eye area. And this is in the color Soft Honey. I actually got this at my local beauty supply store and it was $2.99. However, if you can't get it at your local beauty supply store, you can always order these online as well. And to set this, I'm actually going to use, it's another e.l.f. brush. It's the pointed foundation brush, and the reason why I'm using this one instead today, it's pretty tapered, it's really pointy, so it's really going to help me get in up under these eyes, and this will help set the under eye to help those crease lines. So far this is just flawless. I love it. It looks, honestly, it looks like it could be a dupe for the MAC Pro Longwear powders, or also the BH Cosmetic. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go back into this City Color Contour Effects, the one from 5 and Below, and I'm going to go ahead and just pretty much bronze up my face, bring back some of my color before I go in and do my contouring. And to do that, I'm going to try out this Master Touch brush, and believe it or not, this is a beauty hack for you guys. This is actually not a makeup brush. This is a paintbrush. I got this at my local Hobby Lobby store, and it looks exactly like a regular brush from like MAC. Morphe brush has one just like this. Really the only thing different about this one is that it has a longer brush handle. However, the bristles are still super soft, just like a regular brush would be. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do it with this bronze color right here. I like the taperedness on this brush because it helps get right in where you really need that contour to go. This helps create a smoother transition with that contour. And I'm taking this bronzer all the way up to my hairline. That way you guys, I'm still bronzed within there. I'm bringing it all the way down to my forehead because like I said, my forehead is already forehead friendly, so I don't need to make it any bigger. This palette was only $4, and one really cool thing about this palette too is that for makeup beginners, it gives you a diagram right there and it tells you how to and where to put the product. So if you notice that when I am going back in to do my bronzing, I am going on a slant because I want to keep my face like that. I want to keep it super narrow. Okay, fantastic. I think pretty much done bronze. I'm going to go in with this darker contour. I hope this is not too dark, but this is a first impression, so we're going to try it and see. And just as a makeup tip too, if you're trying to find exactly where your contour should go, if you make this face right here, put it right below your cheekbone and like in between it. So another good way to remember it as well is if you look at this little piece on your ear, I don't know what that's called, if you look at that, you will go right above that. Some people also have a natural contour shadow and they can kind of see where their natural contour would be. Contour shade is a little bit dark, so I'm not going to go in too heavy with it. I'm going to keep it really light. And this stuff is really, whenever you put your brush in there, you do get a lot of product out. So you may want to just tap it just a little bit just to make sure that you're not getting too much product. Okay, so now to add some color to my face, I'm going to use this blush palette. And I got this blush palette at Ross and it's called Matte Blush Palette. $7.99 and you get 10 blushes. So what I'm going to do is go in with this first color here, which is this Real Techniques brush. And this is just going to help add some of the color back to my skin. I like it. I like it's matte, but it kind of has like it kind of has a tad bit of a sheen to it. This is a Real Techniques stippling brush. You can use this for foundation or you can use it for blush like I just did. So for my highlight, I'm going to go in with this Milani Tantastic Face and Body Bronzer. And I have another beauty hack for you guys. So this brush right here is not a makeup brush. Once again, it's a paintbrush and it's from that same collection, Master Touch, and this is their fan brush, and I got this from Hobby Lobby and these were actually 50% off. So this brush right here usually is like $7.99 and I got it for 50% off of that. Yes, highlight come through. This Tantastic is an oldie but a goodie. It's been around for a while, but Milani definitely nailed it. And I'm also going to tap this over my eyebrow. I'm just glowing everywhere. Glow. Glow. So I'm actually going to go in with this same, I'm going to use this same glow, this same Tantastic bronzer, and I'm going to go in the corner of my eye. And this just gives you some extra glow. So one thing that I almost forgot to do, which was go in and contour my nose. So I'm going to do that really quickly. And with my City Color contour palette, and I'm going to take the bronze, and because I'm not trying to do this in any to make it look super sharp, I'm just going to kind of like brush it on there, and I'm bringing it in the crease of my eyeshadow. I want my eyes to pop. I'm gonna go in with white eyeliner, and this is by NYX, and it's in the shade white. I'm just gonna align my bottom waterline. And I'm not going to take it all the way in, I'm just going to take it to the middle. And this is a trick for those nights that you maybe miss some sleep. This really does brighten and widen up your eyes, versus where black liner brings your eyes closer together and makes them look a lot more narrow.